Is it possible to buy a home remotely without even seeing that? Well, it is possible. However, there are a few complications in doing so. So I'm not talking about technical complication. There are virtual tour service that can give you a great idea of how the home looks like. So it's not a technicality, it's a legal side. So first of all, if you're not present in Italy, you need to rely on a real estate agent, on somebody you trust. And this person has to run all the bureaucracy. So first of all, you need to submit an offer. And the offer has to be submitted with a money offer. And this is the first complication. How can you sign a binding agreement between the parties which is likely to be registered at the local tax office? Well, you can do it remotely, you can mail documents, you can mail information, you need to actually witness and sign that, but yes, you can do remotely. And by the way, you can also get a digital e-signature that has the same value as the pen one. So this is something worth considering. However, the other party might not have a digital signature that is binding between the parties. But since here everything is fine. However, how do you do your due diligence? You always need to rely upon somebody that checks and evaluates the property. What's the right value? And are there any works to be carried out? And finally, do you have an Italian bank account? This is the main thing. How do you pay somebody in Italy to buy a home? This is not a type of online transaction. You can just swipe your card or you can send funds simply because there is a notary. So the transfer of ownership of any type of immovable property or land has to be signed in front of a notary. And there are only a few payments accepted. Of course, you can pay everything in advance. You can wire your money to the seller before the notary's appointment. However, there is a slight risk that the seller might walk away, and if you want to repossess your money, you have to start a litigation. So the common thing you do is that you show up at the notary deed with a bank guaranteed check. And of course, this is very easy, very normal to do that in Italy. So you just walk to the bank and request the check. But if you do not have an Italian bank account, this is far more complicated. And in any case, you need to provide a power of attorney to someone to witness the deed. And this is not just a matter of witnessing the deed. You don't sit there and wait for the notary to end whatever speech he or she has to do, but you also need to sign that you transfer the property, that you buy it on behalf of someone, the proof of funds, the source of funds, and that everything is compliant and in place. So whoever puts the signature has few responsibilities as he or she is representing you. And by the way, there is also a form to provide a power of attorney. So in order to provide a power of attorney, you need to write it down and you need to appoint someone to act on your behalf. This has to be notarized and put an apostille. So notarized means that you need to go to a notary in your own jurisdiction, sign it, and the notary has to write that he or she is certain of your identity and that you are Mr. or Miss John Doe or Jane Doe, whatever your name is. And then it needs to be put an apostille, because of course, since those are different jurisdictions, the notary has to put an apostille so that power of attorney can be legally used in Italy. And here it is another complication. Well, the document is not drafted in Italian, so you need to provide a legal certified translation by either the consular service, Italian consular service in your own jurisdiction, or by a certified translator from your native language to Italian. You cannot use a third language. You cannot use English, for instance. This has to be translated to your home language, to your native language, into Italian. And by the way, if you live in a third country, this has to be drafted in the language in which you reside. So that power of attorney with the translation has to be mailed to the person that is representing you, and with that on hand, he or she can legally represent you in front of the notary. And they can provide the signature, and if you have the bank guarantee check, or if you already paid, everything is fine. So the bottom line is, I do not advise to buy a house remotely for so many reasons, because at least you need to know not just the home but the areas in which you want to buy. But assuming that everything is okay, well, you can do that. You can do everything remotely. You can do that without even seeing the property. However, you must be prepared to perform some legal and highly bureaucratic compliance.